When you think of anime, what is the first thing you think of? Stunning animation that leaves you shocked, well-written characters that will forever leave their mark on your life, stories that are so insane you'll never forget them. Whenever you think of the most memorable moments in anime, it often ends up being a super hype power-up or fight, the death of a beloved character, seeing a cute anime girl do cute anime dance. The point is, these moments go on to remain in our brain forever, and no matter how hard we try not to think about them, they will creep back into that noggin of yours and replay over and over. It's one of my favorite things about anime, those moments that unexpectedly just make a home in your brain and live there rent-free. And because my head looks like Skid Row but full of anime, I decided to make a list of my most unforgettable anime moments. Moments that have made me really sad, moments that have made me really happy, and just scenes that I think are overall cinematic masterpieces. And because of the nature of this video, it's gonna be filled to the brim with spoilers, so if you see an anime that you haven't watched, skip forward, I'll have everything timestamped below. And while you're at it, hit subscribe. 99% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so do me a favor and hit that button. Sometimes a show has a scene that catches you so off guard that you remember it forever, leaving you shocked and burning it into your brain. Season 5, Episode 14 of Breaking Bad, Episode 3 of Arcane, the final episode of Code Geass, some of the most memorable episodes of all time. If there's one thing I've gotten hate for, it would be my Attack on Titan takes. And having this greater story you want to tell and having your story planned out is what will separate a masterpiece like Code Geass from something like Attack on Titan that gets kind of jumbled and convoluted towards the end. But one thing you cannot take from it is his ability to create these crazy moments. Attack on Titan has some of the most memorable moments from any TV series in general. No one will forget their first time watching the first episode and seeing Eren's mom get ripped apart. Figuring out who the Armored and Colossal Titan are and then skipping the show back because you don't know if you misread it. Be honest, everybody had to do that, right? Everybody had to skip it back to make sure you heard it right.
I'm the Armored Titan.
Stop the cap.
Colossal.
Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap!
But there's one moment, more than anything from Attack on Titan, that makes me feel so unsure and so uneasy that it will forever be burned into my brain. At the end of Season 3, after they finally get rid of the Titans and they are finally able to travel further than ever before, they finally make it to the ocean. Now, this is a big deal in Attack on Titan because the entire series up to this point, seeing the ocean was a huge goal for Armin and Eren. When they finally made it to the ocean, it was supposed to feel like an end goal. It was supposed to make you happy and fulfilled, like they finally finished attacking on Titan. And for the most part, it does. See, everyone's reaction is they play in the water like happy kids, and why wouldn't they be happy? They finally solved the problem that's been keeping them caged like animals for their entire lives. But in the midst of everything, all the childlike whimsy and euphoria everyone is having, the camera pans over to Eren, longingly staring across the ocean with a serious expression on his face. That's when we're given one of the most iconic lines in all of fiction.
Hey, if we did cross the sea, we killed our enemies. After that, would we finally be free?
This scene instantly sucks all the euphoria out of the characters and the audience, as we all realize that the show isn't over. Their enemies aren't the Titans anymore. It's the people on the other side of the ocean, and that's where Season 3 ends. Some anime have scenes that can only be described as cinematic masterpieces. Some scenes will literally just take your breath away because of how well directed they are, the score in the background, the emotional weight of the moment. Scenes like Gon's rage scene from Hunter x Hunter, the Banquet of Kings from Fate Zero, the potato chip scene in Death Note. Yes, I said it. I said what others are afraid to say. I like the potato chip scene in Death Note. This is my third anime video in this style, and this is my third time talking about Vinland Saga in them. If Vinland Saga has 0 fans, it is because I am dead. Vinland Saga crafted not only one of the greatest episodes in all of anime, but also, in my opinion, they also made the greatest scene in all of anime. Alright, I'm going to be talking about episode 24. Thorfinn has spent his entire childhood trying to kill Askeladd as revenge for his father's death. He's followed them through hell and back every time with only one thing on his mind: killing Askeladd. At this point in the story, Askeladd has effectively become one of Prince Canut's vassals, and because of that, he was granted an audience in front of the king. The king has him make a choice: kill Canute and the king will spare Wells, or stay by Canute's side and let him destroy Wales. This is when something changes in Askeladd and he gets angry. Askeladd is normally this laid-back, calm guy who thinks everything through beforehand, but not right now. What does he do? He disrespects the king and chops his head off in front of everybody, and then begins to fight all of the guards till he finally allows Prince Canute to stab him so that Canute will be recognized as the true king of Denmark. Thorfinn hears this and walks in just as Askeladd is stabbed by Canute. Thorfinn runs up to Askeladd, begging him not to die because Thorfinn is the one who's supposed to kill him. That's when Askeladd tells Thorfinn to finish him off so that their battle isn't forever left unfinished, while Thorfinn just stares at him in disbelief, unable to believe that he's dying. And that's when Askeladd drops one of the most iconic lines in all of anime.
Tell me, how do you intend to live from this day on? Long after I've rotted away, how do you intend to live your life, Thorfinn? Like it or not, you'll have to move on. You have what it takes to be a true warrior. Son of Thor's, find it.
After seeing Askeladd pass away in a fit of rage, Thorfinn attempts to attack Prince Canute, but is stopped by Thorkel, and as Thorfinn is being dragged away, he drops the dagger that he got from his father, and as his dagger is fallen, we are given one of the greatest scenes in all of cinematic history. We see Thorfinn drop his dagger, and as his dagger's dropping, we get flashes of his life, his loved ones, and the world around him, everything that he left behind, all in search of revenge. Thorfinn realizes he wasted his whole life away chasing something he can never have, and even if he did get it, he wouldn't have been satisfied. This scene truly transcends anime, and I do not think I will ever forget this scene. When the game Cyberpunk 2077 came out and completely blew everyone's expectations out of the water with how horrible it was at drop, everybody wrote this universe off. When Cyberpunk Edgerunners was announced, let's just say people didn't have the highest hopes. So when it came out, people were blown away with just how great this show was. The crazy amounts of world building without explaining it to you, just by showing you. The insane animation by Studio Trigger. The insanely well fleshed out world of Night City. The insane gore. Blue nipples. Episode 2 has one of the most beautiful scenes with one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in an anime. David is trying out his new cyberware and he meets this girl Lucy. She convinces him to help her steal chips out of people's necks so they can sell them for a profit. She then takes David over to her place and they use a brain dance, which is practically just super realistic VR. They wake up on the moon and Lucy tells David that it's her dream to go there. The scene that follows is David and Lucy just playing around in low gravity, driving cars, and having a good time, and the track that plays in the background is called I Really Want to Stay at Your House, and this song is a certified boner jam. I even made a cover of it in my last Cyberpunk video, and just the raw emotion that song makes you feel for some reason is unmatched. But it's all made better after the final episode of this show. Skipping to the final episode, David and Lucy are now dating, and it is their goal to eventually go to the moon together. David is completely mech'd out, and he's just about to go cyber psycho. And then David takes a shot in the stomach from Atom Smasher, and as he starts to slowly lose his sanity, the same song from the mood starts playing. But once everything starts going wrong, it cuts out. Rebecca gets turned into abstract art. That's so messed up. And David stays back to fight Atom Smasher while Falco drives away with Lucy. David is obviously going to lose and die, and Lucy begs Falco to turn around. He says, "No can do. It was David's final request. He also told me to tell you."
Sorry. Wish we could go to the moon together.
Where we see David die with a smile still on his face. It then cuts to Lucy on the moon, and she made it, but not with David. And this is where all real men cried. Me and my friend watched this show together, and we just sat there and stared at each other for like 5 minutes, just empty inside. If you have not seen Steins Gate, I will give you a spoiler warning now because this is a masterpiece and you do not want it spoiled, so skip ahead. There are a couple different moments in Steins Gate that will forever remain burned into my brain. Episode 12, when everything goes wrong, if you know what I'm saying. But there's one that stands out as my favorite moment in all of Steins Gate. Now, there's a lot building up to this moment, so I'm gonna try to explain it my best. In episode 23 of Steins Gate, Okabe Rintaro goes back 3 weeks into the past to the moment he saw Makise Kurisu dead. He has one last chance to save her from being stabbed, so he decides to hide in the closet that he found her in during the first episode. While he's hiding in the closet, he sees that Makise is talking with her dad about the thesis she had for time travel. Oh yeah, everything's okay, she's just with her dad. No, her dad gets angry with her and tries to take her thesis with the intention of publishing it as his own. She fights back, her dad pulls out a knife, Okabe grabs a screwdriver, runs towards him with the intention of being a hero, and he stabs Makise right in the stomach. Cut to the present as Okabe and Suzuha step out of a time machine, Okabe covered in blood and traumatized, ready to give up and let time win. That's when he gets a slap from Myuu, his childhood friend. She says that the Okabe she knew would have found a way, and right after this, a mysterious message pops up on his phone. When the video clears up, we see a familiar white lab coat, and we hear a familiar voice, the voice of Okabe from the future. He says he found a way to save both Makise and Myuu and tasked the current Okabe with reaching it, Steins Gate, the name of the target world line where both survive. After 11 grueling episodes of watching Okabe slowly lose his mad scientist persona and watching him slowly give up on being happy, slowly give up on being a scientist, you finally get to hear it, that iconic cackle.
Best of luck to you, old friend. L. Sign. Kangaroo. Steins Gate so decrees that so am I compelled to behave. Hoin Kyoma accepts the challenge. Hear me, privileged companions. Time is ours. Hoin Kyoma's mind recognizes no limits. Heave anchor! This ship of fools is about to embark!
But let's go back a little bit. What if there was an alternate timeline where instead of slapping Okabe and returning him to his senses, Myuu supports his decision to give up? Well, that's how we get Steins Gate Zero, the sequel to Steins Gate, where the timeline is different and the plot is bigger. We get the story of Okabe dealing with the loss of Kurisu and moving on after such a crazy 3 weeks. Cut to episode 20 of Steins Gate Zero, where, let's say, things aren't going the best. After 20 episodes, a depressed Okabe who rejects the idea of time travel sees his friends die right in front of him. He finally looks time in the face for the first time in this series and decides to challenge fate once again. He uses the mind leap machine, and when he wakes up, he's mysteriously in the future where the world is in World War III and he is the leader of the resistance. Yo, is this the wrong show? Okabe decides he is going to try to time leap back to before his friends died. But the catch is, you can only go back 2 days, so in order to get to the present day, Okabe needs to make the time leap 3,000 times, and each time he experiences the pain of reawakening from a coma. After finally making it back to the present day, Okabe sees his right-hand man Daru and instantly tells him to punch him. Daru gives Okabe a big ol' hit to the face, and once Okabe knows he's actually made it, Hyoin Kyoma returns.
So ラボメンナンバー001このラボの創設者にして混沌を望み世界の支配構造を覆すキラキラマッドサイエンテ
And after about 30 episodes of wondering if he'll ever get that same insane, egotistical scientist persona back, you finally get it. And it is one of the most satisfying moments in all of anime, and in my opinion, is probably my favorite anime moment of all time. Every anime or manga has that moment that completely sells you on it. Aaron's mom getting eaten in AOT, Rock Lee versus Gaara, the Tokyo Ghoul opening, and one of the moments that completely sold me on anime as a whole is in My Hero Academia. With the manga for My Hero just barely coming to an end, it had me thinking about all the good moments. All Might vs All for One, All Might vs the Nomu, Deku vs Todoroki, Deku vs Overhaul. My Hero has been filled to the brim with peak moments, but there is one specific moment that stands out to me more than the rest. Deku versus Muscular. When the League of Villains attack the students at camp, Deku runs off to try to find this kid named Koda, and while he's looking for him, he finds the villain that killed that kid's parents, and for all intensive purposes, he's just a stronger Deku. They both have power quirks, making themselves more physically strong, but the difference is Muscular is much stronger. Deku fights with Muscular while protecting Koda the entire time, and the difference in strength between Deku and Muscular is made obvious. This is when Midoriya decides to go all in, staking the entire fight on one attack. He uses 100% of his power for one last attack. As they are clashing, Deku starts to give up, even saying sorry to everybody for disappointing them, and that's when this happens. And Deku beats him. And this is the first time for me where I really realized how far Deku would come and just how much I liked him as a character when I originally didn't like him. He just stands there with both of his arms shattered and just screams after getting that fight done. It's such a good moment. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you everybody who made it to this point in the video, and tell me what you thought about it in the comments. I love you guys. Peace.